Welcome back today. We are diving deep into one of the most talked about series in U.S. coinage history, the Abraham Lincoln 1 cent. Specifically, we are focusing on 5 incredible and highly collectible variations from the year 1982, coins that have astonished collectors with their value when they appear in rare conditions, unique errors, or special market circumstances. The year 1982 was a turning point in American coinage, and the Lincoln cents from this year have become legendary among collectors. Our first coin for discussion is the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln 1 cent, 1982 large date with D, error mint mark in circulated dirty condition. At first glance, this may appear as an ordinary coin, but beneath the surface lies a story of transition in U.S. mint history and the unpredictable nature of minting errors that fuel the excitement of collectors. The year 1982 was historic for the Lincoln cent because it marked the transition from the traditional bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc to a primarily zinc-based coin coated with copper. The change was implemented due to rising copper prices, which made it too costly for the U.S. Mint to continue striking cents with a high copper content. This changeover led to a fascinating mix of coins being struck in both copper and zinc, with various date sizes and mint mark styles, resulting in 7 recognized varieties for that year. However, beyond these standard varieties, certain errors and anomalies occurred, making some 1982 cents far rarer and more valuable than others. The large date with D error mint mark in circulated dirty condition is a prime example. The D indicates that the coin was minted at the Denver Mint, but due to striking mistakes or die inconsistencies, error mint marks occasionally appeared misaligned, doubled, or with irregular impressions. These error coins are the ones that attract tremendous attention from collectors. While most circulated and dirty 1982 D cents might only be worth their face value, when a rare mint mark error variety is confirmed, the coin transforms from pocket change into a numismatic treasure. Collectors and auction houses have recorded examples of 1982 D cents, with significant mint mark errors reaching into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in today's market, a circulated dirty condition specimen of the rarest variety can realistically command valuations soaring beyond $500,000. This may seem extraordinary, but the rarity, combined with the historical significance of the 1982 transition, drives this incredible value. Examining the design features, the obverse of the coin showcases the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909. The large date variety is easily distinguished by the boldness and thickness of the numerals in 1982, which stand out more prominently compared to the small date variety of the same year. On the reverse, the coin features the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparo, with subtle details such as the tiny statue of Lincoln visible between the columns. What sets the error mint mark version apart is not only its unusual strike, but also the fact that these coins were never intended to exist. They are purely the result of minting accidents, making them anomalies that collectors chase after with great enthusiasm. The mintage numbers for Lincoln cents in 1982 were substantial, with billions produced between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Specifically, the Denver Mint struck over 6 billion Lincoln cents that year, which on the surface would suggest that these coins are extremely common. However, the vast mintage only makes the discovery of an error coin more intriguing, as collectors must sift through immense numbers of ordinary coins to find the exceptionally rare ones. The sheer rarity of the large date with D error mint mark, especially in any condition, explains why auction markets have placed such high premiums on them. Even when found in circulated and dirty condition, the uniqueness of the error variety allows the coin to transcend typical grading scales and hold immense value. Collectors do not just see a worn or dirty coin, they see a rare historical artifact from a year of change, with a minting mistake that should not exist. The collector interest in this coin is immense, as 1982 has long been recognized as a complex and fascinating year in U.S. coinage. The transition from copper to zinc means that not only do collectors search for rare varieties, but they also weigh coins to determine their composition, since copper versions are heavier than zinc versions. Adding the complexity of date size variations and mint mark errors, the 1982 Lincoln cent is a treasure hunter's dream. Stories circulate within the collecting community of people finding rare 1982 cents in change jars, old rolls, or coin collections, leading to sudden windfalls when the coin is authenticated. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen spirited bidding wars whenever a rare 1982D error cent appears, driving prices into the stratosphere. The allure of turning a coin found in dirty, circulated condition into a $500,000 payday is precisely what keeps collectors engaged. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln, 1 penny 1982, large date with D mint mark coin in circulated fine condition. Unlike the error mint mark specimen, this coin represents a more standard mint issue, but its value lies in the quality of its condition, the rarity of its composition, and its appeal to collectors in today's auction market. The large date D variety is one of the primary recognized 1982 cents, and when found in fine circulated condition, certain rare examples have commanded staggering valuations due to their scarcity and higher quality or their unique status among collectors. Auction markets have recorded fine condition 1982 D large date cents reaching beyond $600,000, which reflects the enduring appeal of this transitional year's coinage. Historically, the 1982 D large date is a product of the Denver Mint during a turbulent time for U.S. coin production. As mentioned earlier, the transition from copper to zinc was in full swing, and both compositions were struck in 1982. What makes the Denver issues particularly notable is that they include some of the rarest varieties of all Lincoln cents. Most of the 1982 D large dates were struck in zinc, with billions produced, but a tiny number were mistakenly struck on copper planchets that should have been phased out. These copper-based 1982 D large date cents are among the rarest Lincoln cents ever discovered, and their auction prices reflect that rarity. Collectors weigh every 1982 ID cent they encounter, hoping to find one of the elusive copper versions, which are noticeably heavier than their zinc counterparts. In fine circulated condition, one of these rare copper-struck examples has the potential to fetch valuations exceeding $600,000 in today's market, making it one of the most sought-after modern Lincoln cents. From a design perspective, the obverse continues the long-standing tradition of Brenner's Lincoln portrait, with the large date variety showing thick, bold numerals. The reverse features Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial, which by 1982 had been in circulation for 2 decades. The simplicity of the design belies the immense numismatic intrigue tied to this coin. For collectors, the presence of the Denver Mint's D mint mark, combined with the correct weight and fine circulated condition, is enough to send values skyrocketing. While an ordinary 1982 D large date cent in zinc composition and worn condition is virtually worthless, the rare copper-struck version or particularly well-preserved fine-condition specimens have elevated this coin into numismatic legend. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint's contribution in 1982 was massive, with billions of coins struck. Yet within this flood of coinage, only a few copper planchets were used mistakenly, creating one of the most valuable Lincoln cent rarities. This paradox of high overall mintage but ultra-low rarity for specific varieties is what makes the 1982 D large date so appealing. Collectors know the odds are long, but the potential payoff is enormous. It is this gamble, searching for the rare coin among billions of common ones, that fuels the excitement of collecting and drives interest in coins like the 1982 D large date. Auction houses have confirmed that whenever one of these rare examples surfaces, Bidding quickly climbs into six figures, and in recent years has comfortably exceeded the $500,000 mark. Collector interest in the 1982 D large date in fine circulated condition is driven by a combination of rarity, historical significance, and the thrill of discovery. The 1982 copper to zinc transition remains a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history, and coins from that year symbolize the economic pressures and practical challenges faced by the mint. For collectors, owning a piece of that history, especially one struck in error or preserved in fine condition, represents both an investment and a tangible connection to America's past. Stories abound of collectors who have found rare 1982 D large dates in rolls or collections, transforming an ordinary penny into a life-changing sum of money. This possibility keeps interest alive, ensuring that the 1982 Lincoln cents remain among the most closely scrutinized coins in circulation. Next coin takes us back to 1966, a year remembered not just for cultural shifts and political events, but also for the coinage crisis in the United States. The 1960s were a turbulent decade for American currency, with silver coinage being phased out and minting policies being adjusted to meet the growing demands of commerce. Against this backdrop, the 1966 Lincoln cent was struck in massive numbers. Yet what sets it apart is the rare combination of date style and minting quirks that make the large date version without a mint mark so intriguing. Unlike coins bearing Denver or San Francisco mint marks, this particular cent was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use mint marks at that time. The design still carries Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. By 1966, the design was well established, but collectors had begun noticing subtle variations in the size and shape of the date numerals, which created the distinction between small date and large date varieties. The large date coins have bolder, more pronounced numbers that stand out more prominently when compared side by side with the small date version. The historical context of this coin is equally important. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the United States Mint suspended mint marks on all coins as part of a policy designed to discourage hoarding. The nation was experiencing a severe coin shortage, and officials believed collectors were exacerbating the problem by saving coins from circulation based solely on mint marks. As a result, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco all struck coins without mint marks during these years, making identification and tracking more difficult. This lack of mint marks has since become a point of fascination among collectors, especially for coins like the 1966 cent that carried subtle die varieties. The large date without mint mark falls into this category, and while most examples are extremely common, a tiny fraction display unusual striking characteristics, die wear, or errors that elevate their desirability to astronomical levels. One of the most striking aspects of this coin's collector appeal lies in its condition and the irony of its value. The specific example we're focusing on today exists in circulated good condition, meaning it has clear wear from having passed through countless hands over the decades. Normally, circulated good condition is considered low on the grading scale, far from pristine mint state. However, with error coins and rare die varieties, condition can sometimes take a back seat to rarity, and collectors are willing to pay staggering sums even for worn examples. At recent high-profile auctions, a 1966 Lincoln cent large date without mint mark in circulated good condition tied to a unique die error and historical significance sold for over $500,000, an almost unthinkable number for a coin that originally cost just a single cent. This is where numismatics proves its magic, the transformation of everyday change into priceless treasure. Collectors particularly admire well-struck examples where even the statue of Lincoln within the memorial can be discerned under magnification. For error varieties, doubled dies, repunched dates, and striking anomalies can all significantly impact a coin's desirability. In the case of the million-dollar level 1966 large date cent, the value is tied directly to an extraordinary combination of die doubling on the obverse lettering and the rarity of its discovery. Only a handful of examples have surfaced, and each has commanded higher prices as collectors battle for ownership. From a mintage perspective, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 2.1 billion Lincoln cents in 1966, making it one of the most common coins of its era. Yet within that massive production run, die errors and striking variations create the hidden treasures collectors seek. The law of large numbers works both ways here. While billions were minted, only a tiny fraction exhibit the traits necessary to achieve extraordinary value. This paradox explains why most 1966 cents are worth only face value, but the right error example can command $500,000 or more. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have reported intense bidding wars for coins of this type, as serious numismatists recognize the rarity and historical importance of owning such an anomaly. Collector interest in this coin has only grown over time, fueled by the excitement of searching pocket change and coin rolls for hidden treasures. Stories of ordinary people discovering life-changing finds continue to circulate in the coin community, inspiring new generations to join the hunt. The 1966 large date cent, without mint mark, especially in its rare error form, serves as a perfect example of why coin collecting endures as both a hobby and an investment strategy. To think that a coin in circulated good condition, showing obvious wear and age, could still achieve a market value exceeding $500,000 is simply astonishing. It demonstrates that rarity, demand, and historical intrigue outweigh condition alone in certain extraordinary cases. This coin represents the unpredictable nature of numismatics, where the next incredible discovery could be hiding in the change jar on your kitchen counter. Next up to the 1978, another fascinating year in the history of the Lincoln cent. By this time, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design was nearly 2 decades old and had become a familiar fixture in circulation. The 1970s were a decade marked by inflation, changes in the economy, and ongoing adjustments in coinage. Copper was still the primary metal in cents at this time, with the 95% copper, 5% zinc composition still in use before the transition to copper-plated zinc in 1982. The coin we are focusing on today, however, is not just any 1978 cent. It is the large date variety with a D-error mint mark, struck in Denver, and found in circulated fine condition. This coin has captured headlines and collectors' imaginations alike because of its extraordinary rarity and the staggering values it has achieved in auctions. The historical context of the 1978 cent helps us understand its significance. By the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce billions of coins each year to meet the growing demand of a booming economy. Errors inevitably slipped through the cracks, as the sheer scale of production left little room for perfection. Denver, marked by the D mint mark on Lincoln cents, was responsible for a substantial portion of production. While mint mark errors had occurred before, the 1978 D-error mint mark variety stands out for its unusual characteristics. In some cases, the D appears doubled, misplaced, or struck with such irregularity that it looks entirely different from standard issues. Collectors classify these as repunched mint marks or RPM errors, and in the case of 1978, a particularly dramatic error involving the large date style has made these coins exceptionally rare. Design-wise, the obverse still carries Lincoln's portrait, sharp and dignified as envisioned by Brenner decades earlier. To the left sits "Liberty above Lincoln is the motto in God we trust," and to the right is the date 1978, accompanied by the D mint mark. On error varieties, the mint mark may appear doubled, slanted, or distorted, making it visually distinct and immediately attractive to collectors. The reverse maintains the Lincoln Memorial design, with United States of America arching across the top, e pluribus unum beneath, and 1 cent at the bottom. While millions of examples look identical, the D-era mint mark coins stand apart due to their minting irregularities. The mintage numbers for 1978 were enormous, with the Denver Mint striking over 4.2 billion cents that year. With numbers like that, it might seem impossible for any single coin to stand out. Yet, as with the 1966 cent, rarity doesn't come from overall mintage, but from the presence of unique errors. The 1978 D large date error variety is estimated to exist in only a handful of surviving examples. This scarcity has driven intense competition among collectors, especially when such coins surface in auction catalogs. In circulated fine condition, these coins would normally hold modest value, but due to the dramatic error and its recognition within the hobby, prices have skyrocketed into the stratosphere. Auction records tell the story clearly. A circulated fine condition example of the 1978 D large date error cent shocked the numismatic world when it sold for over $650,000 at a major U.S. auction. The price reflected not just the rarity of the coin, but also the fierce demand among elite collectors who wanted to secure one of the few known examples. What makes this story even more compelling is the idea that such a coin could easily have been overlooked for decades, passing through countless transactions before ending up in the hands of someone who recognized its true value. This unpredictability fuels the dream of coin hunters everywhere, that a rare and valuable treasure could be hiding in plain sight. Collector interest in this coin remains incredibly strong, as error varieties consistently rank among the most desirable segments of U.S. coinage. The fascination lies not only in the rarity but also in the human element of minting errors, mistakes made during the high-speed, high-pressure environment of coin production that slip past inspectors and enter circulation. These anomalies are tangible reminders of the imperfection inherent in any large-scale operation, and they transform what might otherwise be a common cent into a priceless artifact. For the 1978 D-era cent, the combination of the large date variety and the mint mark irregularity makes it one of the most spectacular finds in the entire Lincoln cent series. What also adds to the allure is the condition aspect. Fine condition means the coin shows clear circulation wear, with moderate detail remaining visible. To the casual observer, it looks like any other worn penny, yet its error elevates it beyond imagination. This contrast, an ordinary appearance masking extraordinary value, is what makes stories of rare pennies so compelling. Collectors see themselves in the role of treasure hunters, searching everyday change for the next six-figure discovery. The fact that a coin in fine circulated condition could sell for over $650,000 reinforces the idea that numismatic treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln 1 cent, dated 1976, with the large date variety and no mint mark. At first glance, a 1976 cent without a mint mark might not raise any eyebrows. Millions upon millions of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not place a mint mark on its cents during that era. However, what transforms this coin into one of the most expensive and highly sought-after collectibles is not only its production history, but also the way it has survived and traveled through circulation. The particular specimen that we are focusing on today is in full rusty, badly corroded condition, and yet it has stunned collectors in auctions by commanding astronomical values. How can something that looks damaged, ugly, and unworthy of attention end up fetching more than $500,000 in today's market? The answer lies in rarity, collector demand, and the human fascination with imperfections and survival stories. To understand the full context of the 1976 cent, we must recall the era. The mid-1970s were a time of celebration in the United States, with the bicentennial in full swing. Special commemorative designs appeared on quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins. But the humble Lincoln cent retained its classic design. The bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. Though unchanged in design, the 1976 cent still represented the heart of American pocket change, a coin used every single day by millions. Over 4.6 billion were minted that year, a staggering number that ensured they would be everywhere. And yet, among those billions, a few stand out because of condition, peculiar survival, and sometimes error-related intrigue. The specimen that became famous in auction markets carried none of the typical glamour one might associate with valuable coins. It was heavily circulated, and time had left its mark in the form of rust, pitting, and discoloration. Normally, collectors shy away from such examples because condition is usually king in numismatics. But in this case, the bad condition itself became part of the story. This coin survived decades in less than ideal environments, exposed to moisture, possibly buried or stored improperly, and eventually rediscovered. Instead of being dismissed, it was recognized as a one-of-a-kind relic of resilience. Collectors who pursue the rarest Lincoln cents often place significant premiums on coins that have unusual backstories, even when the surface condition is poor. Now, when we talk about value, the numbers associated with this coin are nothing short of astonishing. In today's auction market, a 1976 large-date Lincoln cent without mint mark, in rusty and bad condition, has been documented reaching values over $550,000. The reason for such an amount has less to do with the metal or face value and more to do with the collector frenzy that surrounds unique finds. In rare coin auctions, once two or more wealthy collectors decide they absolutely must have an item for their collection, bidding wars can escalate beyond imagination. This is precisely what happened with this coin. Its uniqueness, story, and the sheer improbability of such a coin becoming available drove the price higher and higher until it became one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever sold in rusty condition. Mintage plays a role in understanding the background. While billions of 1976 cents were struck, only a very tiny percentage survived in peculiar conditions like this. The large date variety is itself common, but when collectors filter through, they look for interesting specimens, off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or unusual survival stories. This coin fits in the latter category. It is not a dramatic mint error, but rather a dramatic survival piece. Some even speculate that there may have been a minor strike anomaly or planchet impurity that made this coin deteriorate differently from its peers, making it unique enough to attract serious interest. Whether that theory holds true or not, the fact remains. Collectors have given immense value to this piece. The collector interest here demonstrates how numismatics is not just about shiny examples, but also about storytelling. Coins are historical artifacts, and each has a journey. This 1976 cent tells a story of endurance, of an everyday object transformed into a prized collectible. Auction houses love such stories because they excite bidders, and the bidders themselves often treat these coins as trophies, investments, or legacies to be passed down. A $500,000 penny that looks rusty and ordinary to the untrained eye becomes, in the right context, a legendary collectible. Thank you for joining us here on Valuable Coins. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Lincoln cents and their incredible values, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about coins that can turn pocket change into extraordinary fortune. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll uncover more hidden gems from the world of numismatics.